Disclaimer. Today we are going to listen to the ninth chapter of Roaring Silence. Oh, you're that boy. Few memories of childhood never fade. I was in class 6, staying for my studies with my military uncle, far from my loving parents. On those days, I wore knickers with belt on both shoulders in European style, as per the wishes of my uncle. But it enabled my knickers not to go down automatically, as I was new to that school that I joined just 1 year before in class 5 in that school. I had not much friends. One of my knickers pocket was little torn off, and as a result, whatever things I put in it easily fell dropped out. I was a fatty boy, and the knicker was purchased by my future-thinking uncle from a ready-made shop, and it was bit oversized, keeping in mind my everyday growing rate. The shortcoming in the knicker was left shoulder belt was slipping out again and again, and I had to spend lot of care maintaining that nuisance. It needed very careful handling to put it in place. Except for school times, at house or while playing, I used to be in that knicker only. No upper garments to support, and my left hand was engaged almost always in the duty of rearranging the belt again and again. One day, while playing at the courtyard of the house where I stay, I got a small goatee made of glass with some unique look. I know that was a precious thing for me. As per the value of children, such as goatee was not with any of my friends. This special toy used to be in soda bottles, blue in color and smeared with mud of the courtyard. Yet I liked the new asset as precious. I gave a good bath to the new friend and dried it on my cloth itself and kept safely in the pocket, forgetting that the pocket is with a hole. I checked it again and again, whether it is there or not, like a worldly creature, even after proved and established that there is not a single drop of happiness in the world. Still, he is hanging with the hope that he will get it someday. Next day, when I was returning from the village, successfully completing the mission of purchasing a soap from the shop for which I was sent, and while putting it in my pocket, the realization dawned upon me that my darling goatee dropped herself out through the hole in my knicker. As if the heaven has come down, I found to the dismay dear goatee was missing. I went around searching for my good friend, and even after a long time of netted search, I failed to locate and I forgot that I am on a mission. As I did not reach the soap in time and enormously late, my furious uncle daunted asking, "Why are you so late?" First I kept mum for a minute, but when I told I was searching the lost goatee, he got more wild and beat me again and again for keeping him to wait for a soap, as his evening bath was late because of that. What to do in the world where elders expect children to behave beyond their age, but the children expect elders to behave below their age? Even in this era of science, elders pressingly need lessons in child psychology. They are failing badly in getting proper education in bringing up a child. But even with that illiteracy of child grooming, they never stop producing children. Production work of children is not stopped for a while or suspended, but they do not have time to learn how to bring a child thus produced up. I was thinking in my mind, see how cruel this fellow is. I have lost my most cherished new friend, a valuable goatee, and this man is not having a bit of sympathy towards me and punishing me for coming little late. Like so many householders come to meet Mahatmas telling that their buffalo did not give milk today, but Mahatmas start giving advice on Vedanta. The old lady says that this Baba do not have little concern for my buffalo and idiotically go on saying something else. That was the same case of mine in front of my uncle. Within a couple of days, I had forgotten that friend, like a modern educated young wife of a millionaire boy who dies in his young age, back to normal with her preparation to get a better husband. After getting some other petty thing to play with, I did forget my old darling. But, like a love triangle to my wonder, one day at school, I saw my lost darling, Goti, with Sudhamani, a classmate of mine. She stumbled upon it somehow by chance and was playing with it in all her innocence. But my greed came to the forefront when I saw it in her hands and I alleged her of stealing it. I asked, rather forced her to return my goti, but she told with authority of an equally righted Indian, I got it on the roadside near that village shop, and so that is mine, not yours. I too failed to remember that I had it too like this from the roadside few days back, and what right I could have upon such a thing. She was at her rights, but me, a Kaliyuga Jiva, started asserting my ownership over it even now. When I, as a sadhu, remember these things afresh, a new understanding flashes from inside how foolishly we humans are chasing, fighting for the carelessly lost by chance, got rights on goatee like things. The state of affairs of learned grown ups, too, are not very different. Only objects and characters, situations change, but the basic elements to initiate a conflict and quarrel are same. Lack of love for others, narrow-mindedness and short-sightedness, lack of faith in the virtue of forgiveness. After repeated request also, she was not ready to return it to me and I got angry. I was not able to accept or digest the idiocy, foolishness and carelessness involved in losing it. With depression of not getting my goatee and the inability of gulping my way of losing it, and even after repeated requests she had not written, at least honoring me as a boy, I got angry. I pulled a frock and started beating her. Not only her frock got torn off, but the lengthy nails of my hand made a cut on her cheek and it started bleeding. When I saw the gravity of the situation, I was afraid and simply sneaked into my classroom and sat there on my school bench. By this time, the issue of a war between us reached headmaster. Being a relative of a teacher, that is my uncle, of the same school, I used to get few special consideration in the school, but this time it did not work. Headmaster appeared in the class with my uncle and I was awarded with legal beatings in front of all students for my illegal quarreling. Headmaster and my uncle took Sudhamani to office room to give her a dressing for the bleeding cut occurred by my hand. Evening, a good reception was waiting for me at my uncle's house. Not only I got a good feast of beatings from my uncle, but he ordered me to go to Sudhamani's house to say sorry for the incident. My evening food was also denied till I go and tell pardon me to Sudhamani. As I nurtured a strong ego, the protected ego was unyielding to do that. I thought only my evening food is denied and not lunch. So I started taking double the food in the lunch itself, tried to unmind the evening food for a few days. Seeing this, uncle started smiling inside and left me to give a test because a boy is always a boy. But it is very difficult for anyone to win hunger, me not an exception. In this world, hunger is the king who rules without a throne. And to the worst, the diplomatic pressure also mounted upon me due to the goodwill of the family. Anyway, I lost my battle, which did not have any valid moral strength. So I went to her house hanging my head and quoted an undesirable apology and the flags of antagonism hoisted down. Sudhamani was playing with her younger brother with the same goatee. Her mother was sitting on the veranda. Sudhamani also displayed that women are always women who are gifted with the divine habit of forgiving everything in no time. When she showed me that all forgetting nature of a woman, that which alone sustains this world in spite of all its flaws, I really felt ashamed of myself. As if nothing happened, Sudhamani called me to join her for playing with. I went near her and said sorry for whatever happened in school. There was still the dressing done by the headmaster. So deep was the scratch on her cheeks due to my greed. At that time, I was not aware of the fact why we worship Mother as Bala And the earth itself is called Shama because this divinity of all forgiving nature is inbuilt in every woman by exception who do not. They are called Abala. I felt bad on my doing. I hope it was a play by my mother, whom I worshipped to teach what is motherliness. From that very moment, the regard and respect for the whole of womanhood leaped, increased in my heart. The incident with this Bala is an undeletable chapter in my life, which contains in it lessons of deep purport. When we keep our eyes open for every incident we come across, involved contains a lot of lesson to learn. But if we decide to keep our eyes closed out of arrogance, even an efficient teacher cannot teach us anything. After all, she got this pain only for a goatee. I cried and her mother came near me and told not to cry as it is common with children to get cuts and wounds while playing. Sudhamani came forward and offered that goatee to me. There were tears, no, purifying water of Ganga, I must say, in her eyes also. I told her, Minnie, do not cry. I am sorry for whatever happened. I tendered an unconditional apology. You keep the goatee with you and play. I do not need it. I stepped back and walked few steps. Sudhamani came running to me, put her hand around my shoulder and asked, Did uncle beat you too much? Even today I remember those sublime sweet concerning words ringing around my ears. Now I am sorry because of me and this useless goatee you got beatings from our headmaster and your uncle. She threw away that goatee into the nearby land. I walked back home. Both of us studied together till 10th class. A black thick mark of my nail was on her cheek, and whenever I saw her face, I feel bad on the misdeed. At that age, with an underdeveloped heart and mind, I was not able to enjoy the intensity of warmness of love and the value of sense of sacrifice filled in the tiny heart of that child. But now by writing this as attribute to that angle of love, I feel fulfilling. If I to consider this as a small insignificant incident like most people in the world do, I have not earned or learned anything by becoming a saint. Years together passed. After leaving our school, I never saw Sudhamani or remember the foolishness of childhood. But when I was in Mookambika, once I was sitting on the banks of Sauparnika, one couple came to meet my Guruji, Matarama. With them was a child. When I saw the girl with a husband and child, with a scar in her cheek, I readily recognized her. But due to protocol, I did not ask anything. She too recognized me, but without telling. With a touch of doubt, she started rolling her fingers on the marks on her face, as if asking for verification from me. I could easily recollect the black thick mark on her cheek. Now I decided to clear the air, and I asked her, Are you not Minnie? Do you remember me? She shook her head, refusing. I was now in Kasharops and have changed a lot. Else, who remembers such silly incidents of school days in an ever-changing life? I asked her, Do you remember the incident behind this thick black mark on your cheek? She burst cried, Oh, you're that boy? Her husband was looking to her face with a deep question mark on his face. Then I narrated to him the whole story to her husband, and then only he was able to come out of his hush, and felt happy to meet a known face in that unknown forest. They told that they are here at Mookambika for the Akshara of their boy child. They invited me also to attend the function. With the permission of Amma, I too joined them in the function. I gave a small blue, same-looking goatee to that boy, which I collected to celebrate the occasion from a known shop near Mandir, telling him not to fight for goatee as your mother and a friend did in the school days. I do feel immense solace in remembering this as a tribute to that pure, tender heart which taught me the lesson of forgiveness, and a lot of gratitude at the feet of my mother goddess, who came as a loving child to teach me the greatness of forgiveness. If any reader deems it to be meaningless to remember a childhood incident, I say them get lost. It is the end of chapter 9. In this chapter, we saw the kind and caring nature of the women. Even as a child, most show care and love to the people around them. This motherly nature is not limited to just most women, but also can be observed in some men. Our Guruji, Avadhoota Nadananda, is one such person who overflows with mother's love and care towards his disciples, emulating the goddess herself. Also, we can observe that there are lessons for us in every situation we go through, especially the hard ones. If we can reflect on each lesson and adopt the learning in our life, we move on to the next stage of evolvement, shedding a layer of veil around us. If you found this video helpful, please do share with your family and friends. Chapter 10 will be released next Sunday. Jai Ma.